The sun was out once again for stage 2 of the Santos Tour Down Under on the Tanunda circuit, which was used last year for stage 1. Sam Welsford was the winner on that occasion, but this time it was being run in the opposite direction, meaning that Mengler's Hill was that bit steeper, coming from the harder western side. The question at the start in Tanunda, of course, would Sam Welsford be able to get a second stage win? Would he and some of the other fast men be able to survive those 3 ascents of Mengler's Hill? Well, all would be revealed in the coming laps. There were on the course 2 big laps before the final cut through to give a shorter final 34k loop. The wind was blowing a bit today as well over the top of the plateau on top of Mengler's Hill, and there were some concerns about the damage that could be done by both the wind and the teams who fancied shaking out Sam Welsford. There he was starting in Tanunda in the Oka leader's jersey after his stage 1 win the day before in Gumaraka. And from the off, one rider going clear. Fergus Browning, who'd been in the breakaway the day before with his teammate Zach Marriage. At this stage, it was looking like it might just be him. Thankfully, it wasn't. He was about to get some company, and strong company too, in the shape of the Austrian rider Patrick Conrad from Lidl-Trek and Georg Zimmermann, the German from Intermarché Wanty. Didn't take too long for the two of them to get across to Fergus Browning, and all 3 seemed pretty quickly aware of what their reasons were for being up the road. Fergus Browning thinking about getting as many points as he could in that green and white FX King of the Mountains jersey, which he already held, of course. And while we were watching it settle in, a nasty crash happened in the middle that took out the Oka leader as well, wearing that leader's jersey. Sam Welsford down, amongst others. You see Welsford there just on the left-hand side of the shot. Thankfully, everyone up and back in after that crash, but you can see the damage it had done to Sam Welsford's shorts and shoulders. He's only just recovering from a crash in the Australian National Road Race Championships, which injured his left side. In this instance, it was his right side. It took a while to get him back in, but he did get back in to the peloton as well, and seemed to be coping okay with his injuries. Meanwhile, up the road, Fergus Browning was still continuing to pick up points across the top of Mengler's Hill, comfortable in doing so and being helped by 2 strong workers in that breakaway too. Fergus Browning enjoying his time out front, and as he'd said in interviews as well, using the opportunity to put himself in the shop window with the world teams. Well, both Zimmermann and his breakaway compatriot Patrick Conrad both fancied picking up the bonus seconds. But the first one in Greenock, it was Patrick Conrad who got the better of an early jump from Georg Zimmermann. Of course, Fergus Browning took the 1 second and the 1 sprint jersey point there. And that would move both Conrad and Zimmermann right up in the general classification. Meanwhile, behind the team of Sam Welsford, a Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe were doing the pace setting. At the next of the intermediate sprint points, Zimmermann used exactly the same tactic, but it worked this time, only just staying ahead of Patrick Conrad. So they'd shared those 6 bonus seconds across those 2 intermediate sprint points evenly between them, the 2 of them moving right up in general classification as a consequence. But that final sprint meant that Fergus Browning started assessing whether he needed to stay there. In fact, all 3 of them did, and before we started the final 34k circuit, they dropped back into the peloton, and the question had to be asked, okay now, who sets the pace and how hard has it made up Mengler's Hill? Into the base of Mengler's Hill, it was Connor Swift of the British Ineos Grenadiers team, but looking around to see where his teammates were. The Grenadiers obviously had a plan on Mengler's Hill. It didn't quite work though. It was Juanpe Lopez who attacked next, the Lidl-Trek rider, showing his climbing talents on the 3rd ascent of Mengler's Hill, but even that wasn't quite enough to detach him fully. However, it was doing damage at the back, and it was doing damage to Sam Welsford in the Oka leader's jersey, being distance off the back as the fast sprinting teams around him would have hoped it would do. But there was an absolute pile of work being done by his teammates to get him back in, and they got him back in. This was the run-in back into Tanunda for the final sprint, and Sam Welsford had been brought back to the front. Jersey and shorts ripped to shreds, but Danny Van Poppel ready to shred the peloton, and that's exactly what he did in the lead-in. Again, Riders massing around him, Arne Marit right there, Tobias Lund Andreasen as well, looking well placed, managing to get the wheel of Sam Welsford. Welsford wanted to leave his final jump as late as possible after saying he'd gone way too early yesterday. Danny Van Poppel going deep until he had pretty much nothing left. Sam Welsford opened up, Tobias Lund Andreasen up the inside, and that was balking Phil Bauhaus right up against the barriers, raising a fist in anger. Arne Marit took second. But as you can see, Sam Welsford, tattered and torn like the Hulk himself, taking his second stage win. Last year he won 3. He's got 2 already from 2 stages this year, so equaling that looks good. We shall see though. Sprinters around him working him out as best they can. Arne Marit the best in second, Brian Coquard the Frenchman doing well in third, and the man I'm calling Triple T, Tim Thurn Teutenberg, in 4th as well. This is the sprint again from above. If you watch Danny Van Poppel swinging off, he does deviate slightly from his line, comes back across Tobias Lund Andreasen, forcing Phil Bauhaus on the in to have to cut his power. A messy sprint and a messy opening to the stage, but still the best sprinter on the race winning and extending his lead in Oka. He got the 10-second bonus, of course, on the line, Sam Welsford. And with that, Sam Welsford, of course, took another 10-second bonus, meaning that going into stage 3, he has 14 seconds over Arne Marit in second. Enjoying his time on stage, and the crowd loving all of it as well as their Australian hero continues to dominate. You'll have to join us tomorrow, though, for what should expect to be a very general classification-focused day.